Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. So we have today, our speaker is His Excellency, the Ambassador of Palestine to Japan. And he has come to speak at a time when a big tragedy is unfolding in his own land. And an unequal war, as we know, is going on. That children, women, they're dying, and people are suffering, and there is no end to this tragedy. So Mr. Waleed Ali Siam, he's a very veteran diplomat, and he's in Japan for quite long. Since 2003, June 2003, he has been appointed ambassador of Palestine to Japan, and since then he is serving here and trying to convey the message of Palestinians, the cause of Palestinian people to the Japanese. And today, as tragedy is unfolding in his land, we have invited him to speak and to know from him about the situation over there. And please join me to welcome Ambassador Waleed Ali Siam. Yes, please, Excellency. Would you like to?
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Mr. Hague. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank the Foreign Correspondent Club for inviting me today and this opportunity to present the Palestinian side and our points of views. And hopefully we can clarify many things. Second, I'd like to also thank the government and the people of Japan, and especially the NGOs that are daily, tirelessly working and assisting the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank and in Palestine as a whole. Today I came here not to argue, nor to receive an argumental questions, but I'm here to clarify our point of view, and I welcome any questions after my presentation, so please feel free. There is an Arabic proverb that says, "He hit me and complained before me." The Palestinians are under occupation, military occupation. And 5 million Palestinians are living in the Palestinian territories as a big camp, a jail in the West Bank, in Gaza, and even in East Jerusalem. Again, we are under military occupation. This occupation is in violation of all United Nations charters, the Rome, the Vienna Convention, and international laws as a whole. And we, as Palestinians, are still suffering. This occupation that controls our daily lives, controls our borders, airspace, sea, even controls the supply of electricity, water, food, medicine, and the movement of people. Actually, it controls all aspects of our lives. Adding this occupation is building illegal settlements on our land, illegal confiscation of our land, destroying our trees, arresting civilians under administrative law, which is illegally by international law, building walls, checkpoints, segregation, and arresting elected people, representative of the Palestinian people, which under the Vienna Convention is unlawful and illegal. More to say, what this occupation is ongoing, I think it will take me the whole day to continue on saying that. But it's a humiliation. The Palestinians are being humiliated on a daily basis. The Palestinians are being unequal on a daily basis. And those are the facts on a daily basis of these Palestinians, of us, the Palestinians living under this military occupation. Allow me to say that when the Haganah and Aragon and Stern groups, which was the Jewish called groups, when they massacred and they blew up the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, and there was many British civilians and military people and many innocent people died, they were called independence groups. The occupation today commits daily massacres, and they're called self-defense. And when the Palestinians resist the occupation, unfortunately, we are called terrorists. And I think that hypocrisy has to be changed from now on. Peace talks, we have been talking since 1993. We have talked for land for peace, 2 states, 1 land, 22% a Palestinian state, 78 an Israeli state. Well, in summary, peace spells P-I-E-C-E. We are now at 8% of the land, not 22. This is incremental peace. We have not received the peace yet. We tried to finalize the peace, and we sat down until the end of April 2014. The occupation reneged on their promises. They did not release the 4th groups of the prisoners, and it was the end of the talk. The United States, even the international community, accused the occupiers of being the fault at this stopping the peace talks. The Palestinians, after that, decided to unite. We united as a unity government with no political parties involved. It was all technocrats. This government was welcomed by the international community, including the United States and Japan. However, the occupier refused the unity of the Palestinians. That's another hypocrisy. And then 3 illegal settlers kidnapped in the Area C, which is occupied and responsibility of the occupation security, and found dead. And then the occupier accuses the Palestinians, accuses Hamas of being responsible with no proof. Actually, there was a program at the German TV yesterday that said that these civilians were killed not on the grounds by the Palestinians. It was a civil crime. And you should see it's at German TV yesterday. So there was no proof, actually, that we were involved in the kidnapping nor the killing. But yet the international community accepted the accusation without any proof. I thought that democracy and democratic countries, that the innocent is the innocent is innocent till he's proven guilty. But unfortunately, when it comes to the Palestinians, any accusation we are guilty of. Anyway, after that, 1 Palestinian was kidnapped. Kidnapped in a security area under the occupation. He was tortured, forced to drink gasoline, burned alive, just because he was Palestinian. And what happens? Nothing happens. A little bit cries from here, cries from there. But when the 3 illegal settlers were kidnapped, the whole world was crying. I cannot understand why the world cries for certain ethnic groups and the world doesn't cry for another certain ethnic group. Why is this indifference in that? But that's not the point here. The point is that with these 2 things ongoing in the territories, the occupation reoccupied the West Bank. He destroyed homes, arrested 500 Palestinian citizens, including officials of the Palestinian Authority, which is under international law, it's illegal. Again, this aggression has exceeded, and the propagation of the hatred set by this occupation was at the closing of a confrontation and a hostility that will never end. Many people would say to me, what's happening? What comes next is that we all are witness this history, unfortunately. Palestinians are accused of throwing rockets on another state. What surprises me is why never anybody is asking, what is the reason? The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, We are under occupation for over 7 decades. We have went through all the negotiation from 1993 until today. There is no results. 60 up to 70 UN resolutions. Nobody complied with it. The international community is blind. It doesn't look at us as Palestinians. And then they accuse us of terrorism. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you something. This occupier that everybody thinks that he's the victim is ranked number 10 by a CIA report as the most powerful military power in the world. Number 10. It's not by me. It's not a report by the Palestinians. It's a report by the CIA. Number 10 ranked after Japan as a superpower. Also ranked number 8, exporting weapons of mass destruction to the world. 8. Palestine is not on the list, neither here, neither there. Also, it's ranked number 7 or 8 also on a country that owns weapon of mass destruction, nuclear bombs, and nobody is saying anything about it. Palestinians, nor Palestine, nor any Arab country is on this list. Neither actually the 3 list. And they play that they are the victims. Well, let me tell you about Gaza. Gaza is a 360 square kilometers. It is 1.7 million, the most condensed population in the world. It is attacked by F-16, F-15, 22, tanks, helicopters, Navy, ground forces, all in the name of the self-defense. And let me explain what self-defense is. Actually, occupiers cannot invoke the right of self-defense vis-à-vis Gaza Strip. International law prohibits an occupation power from using force to suppress a struggle for self-determination. Only in case of an armed attack by one state against another, and Gaza is not a state yet. Be as it may be, occupation continues. And we are calling a humanity call for the stop of this killing that is ongoing into Gaza. What's going in Gaza is a deliberate killing of civilians under the name of self-defense. They pretend that sending a 5-minute call to their homes and saying, empty your home and get out of your house because we're going to come and bomb it, that is enough. Tell me who of you will leave his home in 5 minutes? What can you take out of that home in 5 minutes? What happens if your child was in the bathtub taking a bath, or he was sick? 5 minutes is not enough. Even 5 minutes, I'm saying today, is more than they have given us. They give us less than 5 minutes for people to leave their homes under the pretext of self-defense. And these rockets that they send before the F-16 comes, this is a rocket called a laser guide for the F-16 to come and destroy the homes. There is no law that gives the right to anybody to come and destroy a civilian homes under a war, peace, or whatever. What is funny also on the narrative that they use, self-defense, and that the media and the United Nations, the EU, the United States, I can say they're all biased by saying self-defense. What about the Palestinians? Don't we have the right for self-defense? If we are attacked, we are 7 decades of occupation. We are attacked on a daily basis. Don't we have the right to resist? We have resisted. The first Intifada, the second Intifada. We walked as the Gandhi demonstrations. We did everything possible to get rid of this occupation. But unfortunately, this occupier continues on his travesties against the Palestinians. And also the narrative of equating Hamas and the occupation. Come on, there is no equation. The occupier has over 500,000 soldiers, and he can get a reserve for 250,000. He has the F-16, F-22, F-18, and also he signed a documentation just lately with Japan and other countries to build an F-35 for destruction. We Palestinians have nothing. I mean, these rockets, I mean, come on, you're telling me about this rocket. Hamas has sent 2,500 rockets out of Gaza. One Israeli died from a heart attack, and the other guy was an Arab. But one rocket of the Israelis has killed over 38 children. Today, I stand right now at a number of 640 dead. Only 32 occupiers died. I can say that this is really a genocide. It's a incremental genocide. Destroying civilian homes, destroying hospitals. 2 hospitals were destroyed in the past week in Gaza. A whole small towns in Gaza, Al-Shaja'iyya, Al-Tufah, Al-Zaytun, they all have been destroyed. I hope that everybody is looking at the news and looking at the pictures. For the past week, or 17 days actually, I've been looking at pictures. I've seen heads with brains out. I've seen bodies of civilians with no heads, no hands. I've seen hands with no body. I've seen complete family destroyed and killed. Until when are we going to stop this? When are we going to stop this? You blame the victim and you forget the victimizer? Is that the right thing to do? Is this humanity? It's the arrogance of the occupier. It's a non-compliance of the occupier. It's a deliberate massacres in residential area under the narrative of self-defense. This is not acceptable. We Palestinians, and I can say it with confidence, we will not allow to be humiliated anymore. We call on the international community to be responsible. We call on all humanities that people have, is to interfere to stop the ceasefire. And don't come and tell me the narrative that Hamas did not accept the Egyptian ceasefire. That is not the justification for killing and continue on killing of civilians in Gaza. This Operation Protective Edge, that what the occupier calls, should be Operation Destroy Gaza. Let me quote Mike Pelod, which is an Israeli, and he's a son of a general, that said, if they don't like rockets, decolonize Palestine. That's a voice of a Jewish Israeli, a son of a general. The cycle of the killing and the blood that is spilled in vain, I can tell you this, there is no winners. There is no winners on both sides. The civilians are only the victims. And we are asking, give us a measure of peace. We have accepted all the United Nations resolutions. We have accepted all the agreements that we have signed. But our occupier has not complied with one United Nation. One an Arabic country like Libya or Iraq did not comply with one United Nations Security Council resolution, the whole world went against and attacked him. But when this occupier does not comply with over 73 UN resolutions, everybody is looking the other side. I leave it to you to make up your mind. What is that called? We believe what Gandhi has said, that an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. This atrocities that's happening in Gaza is not only my responsibility, it is your responsibility too. It's the media responsibility too to tell the truth of what's going on in Gaza. It's show the massacre that's going on, so the whole world can say, let's stop this occupation for once and for all. And as Einstein said, Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. I, as a Palestinian, will say, all I want is a sovereignty state where I can keep my dignity, where I can have the freedom like everybody else, is the free to eat whatever I want, is to drink clear water, is to travel wherever I want, is to have the best medical aid when I need it, is to have the best schools for my children, is to have a future for my children and for children and others. I'm not asking too much. Since 1948, the world has been blind on all our calls. Nobody gave us our rights. We fought for our rights, and nobody gave us our rights. We gave peace to our rights, and even nobody gave us a... What else do you want from us? Do you want us to go to the moon? Well, I can tell you that we Palestinians are resilient. We will not go to the moon. We will build a state called Palestine, where its capital is Jerusalem. Thank you very much for listening for me, and the floor is open.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Now the floor is open for Q&A session, and this is a press conference, so priority definitely goes to working press. So if we have time left, then only non-working press will be able to ask questions. Yes, raise your hand, and when you're identified, come forward, introduce yourself, and first limit yourself to one question. Imad, please, yes.
Excellency, a Japanese friend asked me this question. I'm forwarding to you. Why the babies who had been killed in Gaza didn't go back to their country? I would like if Your Excellency answer him. My question, mother of all Palestinians must be killed. I'm quoting Ayabet Shakir. You know her, she's member of the Israeli Knesset. Should always the history of Palestine must be written using the blood of casualties, including women and children? Thank you.
We should try all to abate this kind of hatred that I can see on both sides. I can understand on my side because we are under occupation. But on the other side, I don't understand why this hatred against us. All I can hope for is that one day, and I really believe in that, two states on one land, two people to coexist with each other. This world is too small. So we have to all learn how to coexist with each other and to live with each other. As for the babies, because I'm a believer, I can say they are in a better place right now. That's all I can say. They are in a better place right now. They are trying to kill the dreams of our children. But they will never kill the dreams of our children. Even if our children are not with us, the dreams will continue generation after generation. I'm the second generation of a refugee. My son is the third generation. He will have another son who will be the fourth generation. And there will be fifth generation, sixth generation. And we will continue until we have our freedom and our state. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Ishtasan, yeah. Come forward and introduce yourself.
Hello, Ambassador. I'm Michio Ishida with Singapore's Channel News Asia. I heard that yesterday Prime Minister Shinzo Abe had a teleconference with Israel's Prime Minister and has demanded to take courageous action for a ceasefire. I was wondering if can Japan play any role in this situation in Gaza? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I do believe that Japan has played a very important role in the past years, economically, politically, in the Palestinian issue. And we really highly appreciate their continuous support on the economically. As what Japan can do, I think it's the responsibility of all the international community, including Japan. Japan is a member of the United Nations, isn't it? Japan is trying to be on the Security Council, isn't it? If I'm corrected. I think they should enforce peace by using the resolutions of that organization that came out with. It's over 73 resolutions for the solution of this problem. And none of the members has ever enforced. Only it's enforced on some people, on the Libyans, on the Iraqis, and I don't think other than that has been enforced on anybody else. So I think the international community should be responsible. And I make the international responsible for the massacres that's going on in Gaza today. The international community is responsible for the massacres. For every child that dies, they are responsible for that because they did not do their jobs of enforcing the occupier to comply with the United Nations resolutions and to the peace agreements that he has signed.
Yes, Joel, yeah.
Joël Lejean from RTL France Broadcasting, France Rosso Ukraine. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for coming today again. You have just again called on the medias and on the international communities to play a role. But what about the Arab countries? So far, I remember in my own country, we had huge demonstrations in Paris. There were many demonstrations in the world, everywhere, except maybe in the Arab world, or maybe except in Beirut. So what about the Arab world reaction to what's happening in Gaza today?
Unfortunately, the Arab world has gone through a lot of changes lately. What we called, or the media called, or some of the international community called the Arab Spring, it turned to be an Arab tsunami. I do believe that the Arab people around all capitals of the Arab world continue their support to the Palestinians on a daily basis. And the Arab countries continue on supporting the Palestinian cause. But I can say that the Palestinians are facing the occupier on their own. That's not the first time anyway. I tweeted today something that said, what's happening today reminds me of the past. When the United Nations is speechless, the international community is blindness, and the Arab world is hopeless, it reminds me of 1948. What happened in 1948 of massacres is the same story going on in Gaza right now, unfortunately. Thank you.
Yes, please. Floor is open. Yes, Khaldun, please.
Thank you. Khaldun Azhari, Panoramic News. I would like to go back to the Japanese position. It seems there are some changes in the position of the Japanese government because they issued condemnation against Palestinians. And it was clear in a statement by the foreign ministry. but Japan never condemned anything related to the Israeli actions. This is first. Secondly, yesterday, according to Gigi Press, the Chief Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Soga, asked the Palestinians to refrain from excessive use of power against Israel. So it looks like the Japanese government is, at least by statement, changing its position, maybe because it's now Japan is working with Israel to on the development of a new air fighter jet with America and other countries. Do you agree to this, and do you think Japan should have done more? Thank you.
I'm getting bombarded about Japan, but let me put it in a nice way. I hope that the Vice Minister Kishi is visiting Egypt, Palestine, the occupier, and Jordan will bring back a clearer picture to his government about what's really happening on the ground. And I do hope that he will enlighten Japanese public and the government on the atrocities that's going on in Gaza. It's very difficult to come up with a press release from an office without looking at the facts. I showed the other day some officials, Japanese officials, pictures of the destruction of Gaza and the pictures of the children of Gaza. And his reaction was, he never thought that it was that way. So I believe that Japan to play an important role in the peace process has to go on the ground, check the facts, and then make up the statements. But I do still believe that Japan can play a neutral and be a partner with both parties. And we would appreciate that Japan to be involved in that capacity. Thank you.
Yes, floor is open again. And
it's the lady over there.
yes, lady over there, yes, please.
It's very difficult for this.
I'm Shoko Hachira from 8-Bit News. Could you tell me how you think about recent Japanese government's decision about collective right to collective self-defense? Because the Japanese government is using the same word, self-defense, and planning to start produce and export weapons to foreign countries. So please tell me how you feel about it.
Well, I guess this narrative of self-defense has been adopted by many nations. It's their own prerogative to choose whatever they want to choose. But for me, self-defense is not really the right word for it. Your question is, what Japan... Every country has the right to say whatever they want. It's us to accept it or not to accept it. But I still say that I hope Japan continue to play a neutral negotiator, partner in the peace process. And not to go to the left, nor to the right, nor to follow the blindness of some international community countries. But deep inside, I believe Japan will come back on the right path very soon. Thank you.
Yes, I have one question until other people come up with.
Sure.
And we are now watching new development in the Middle East, like this new Khalifa claiming to be now in Syria and Iraq. And when there is chaos and confusion, he might probably try to influence he or his group to other part. What's the influence of this group in Palestine on Palestinians?
I will say it and say it again. Our conflict is not a religious conflict. It is not between the Muslim and the Christian, nor the Jew. This is a conflict about land. And that's why we have no relationship to what's happening outside the Palestinian authorities. And our groups, none of our groups have any connections with Daesh or with the new Khalifa or others. They can have their own Khalifa, whatever they want, but not in Palestine. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, Michael, yes, and gentleman over there, you heard, and someone else from there was raising hand, yeah? Okay, after Michael, it's you.
Okay, I'm Michael Penn of the Shingetsu News Agency. Well, as we all know, that probably outside of the Islamic world, the Palestinian issue is often treated in a rather slanted way in most of the media, especially perhaps in the United States above all, but also in Europe as well. My question for you is, as the ambassador to Palestine here in Japan for 10 years, and during such a situation that we have now, what kind of treatment or what is your evaluation of the Japanese media handling of this issue? Do you find a lot of opportunities to express the Palestinian view, and when it's done, do you feel it's being done in a fair way? So basically, I just want your overall evaluation of the Japanese media treatment of the Palestinian issue.
Thank you, Mike. I think a month ago, the United Nations had a seminar, and one of the sessions were how the Japanese media covers the Palestinian issue. Unfortunately, the Japanese media use a third-party news and then brings it up. I have not seen in the past 11 years, actually, a report I really liked on TV, nor in the newspaper. The narrative that the English-speaking newspapers sometimes have is very weak. And I think that's lack of understanding of the situation in Palestine. And some of the Japanese journalists that goes to the Middle East for a visit for 1 week comes back as the specialist on the Middle East issue. Palestinian issue is not a 1 week visit, nor a 3 days visit, nor a 1 year visit. You have to study history. You have to study religion. You have to know the whole area so you can have a comprehension of what's going on. So I think most of the Japanese media depends on third-party news. And to tell you, mostly American news, unfortunately. I see Fox News on many channels, Japanese channels, but in Japanese with different faces, unfortunately. Answer the question.
Yes, gentleman over there.
Michihiro Matsumoto, known as Channel, Internet TV program. I'm a frequent visitor to both countries, Israel and Palestine. Now that you've mentioned, I must be honest with you. My mind is with Israel. My heart is with Palestine. Is that fair enough? And if so, I do not represent the government of Japan. I'm entirely on my own, anchor person for an internet TV program. And would I be able to make a qualified mediator for both countries? You've stated to the effect that we must maintain neutral. What do you mean by neutral? If I'm going to do something for you, how neutral can we be? Could you tell us specifically what would you suggest we do as a negotiator between the two hostile nations? Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you, sir. As for the mind and the heart, I appreciate both. I think it's a responsibility of every human to take his own conclusion on what's happening, if he's with or against. But I can tell you this, sir. In the Japanese culture, dignity, saving face is the most important thing in the society. We Palestinians have to continue on protecting our dignity and saving face. And that's why we will not allow the occupation to continue, for whatever it takes.
Understood.
As for neutrality, don't buy weapons from Israel. Don't have any cooperation, military cooperation with an occupier. Boycott occupiers. That can help in the neutralization of that. If we don't exert pressure on the occupier in many forms. When a country is selling weapons to kill others, I mean, exporting weapons, and its top list of exporting weapons, is that state a peaceful state? And these weapons are going to, like chocolate, to give the kids around the world. It is a killing instrument. So we have to stop these exportation of weapons, I believe. And to be neutral also, go to Palestine. Look at the occupiers. Many Japanese friends has gone, and I've sent them as a visit to go. 98% comes and tells me, you did not tell us this real picture. Because they had to be stopped by the army on a daily basis, searched, asked what are they doing here? Humility at these passages that they have to go through. So please come to Palestine. Go down there. I can tell you it's safe until now. Come and see what are we suffering for the past 7 decades. And then you will have a clear picture of how to be neutral or not to be neutral.
Yes, please, lady over there. And the lady over there, are you a working journalist? Yes?
No,
okay.
No.
Okay, later, if we have time, we will let it, please.
Hi, Brody Mystery, Fuji Televi. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
You mentioned history earlier and how that's important in the narrative. I study the conflict in college, and I'm very interested in knowing how much attention we should put on the past. And because I know that Israel the occupier might use the historical narrative as a way to justify their occupation. But what is your opinion on using history, and how important is it to the Palestine's case as well as Israel's case? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think history teaches us many things. And in history, we have to read history and understand it, but not use it again, because if we're going to use history all the time, we're not going to be advanced to the future right now. I think the most important thing is to realize from this history the mistakes that has been committed and the atrocities that has been committed right now, and try to stop these things to again and again repeat each other. This has been repeating all since 1948, 49, 52, 67, 72, 73, 82, 2000, 1995, 2000, 2002, 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014. And it continues. Yeah. And then 1,500 dead, 2,000 dead, 100 dead, 500 dead, and it's like increments of death. If we collect them all, it's over 6,000 Palestinians have died for the past 10 years. 6,000. 62 occupiers died. I'm not saying that, but you can see there's no comparison on both sides. I believe 2 states on 1 land. This is what history is saying. And this is what it should be done. There is no guarantee of security. And I am with the son of the general that says, if you want security, decolonize Palestine. Leave Palestine. You cannot come and occupy me and say, oh, we occupy them because of our security, because we are afraid of rockets, because we are afraid of... That narrative doesn't work anymore. Yeah, that's a narrative, an old narrative right now. So, you want peace, you want security, get out of my land. Full stop. There is nothing else. Get out of my land. Leave me alone. They don't want to see me. They can build a 100-meter wall. I don't care. But I have a lot of hope because I have a lot of Jewish friends. And hearing their voices in the past 17 days, it gives me hope that humanity is still alive. So people that want to coexist with us, they're welcome. People that don't want to exist with us, they can go around the wall on their side. Go build a wall on your land, not on my land. You cannot come and say, because I don't like you, I'm going to come and take off half of your office because of my security and because I don't like you. No. If they want peace, end occupation. If you want security, end occupation. After that, we sit down on the table and then we make other agreements. It's not like I have to make agreements under occupation so I can get free of occupation. It doesn't work that way. We're not at war, actually. Even World War II, when parties finished, they finished the war and then they sat down and made the agreements. It's not they were bombing each other and making agreements. So it's the same thing, narrative. End occupation, leave us, sit down on the table and let's talk and let's finalize our agreements. 2 states, agreements, diplomatic relationship or no diplomatic relationship, it's up to them. You know, our hands are open for everybody. We want to coexist. But security in the region, it will only happen is ending of occupation. Thank you.
Yes, Joel. You wanted? Yeah, okay. Okay, yes.
Thank you very much. Which country is the best negotiator to stop this conflict, the ceasefire? Is it the Egyptian government?
Going back to negotiation, to tell you, I have to quote J.F. Kennedy, who said, "You cannot negotiate with people who say, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is negotiable." Until this formula is changed, then negotiation starts. But as long as the occupier think this kind of thing, what's mine is mine and what's yours is negotiable, is not going to work. The best negotiator is the international community. Going back to the United Nations, if we all consider the United Nations organization as the organization that helps lives, that are supposed to be the ones that we all go when we have problems with each other, nations that have problems with each other, let's make the United Nations enforce its resolutions. We don't have to go really in negotiation. There is, you see, there is a narrative always on the other side that, oh, we have to give up a lot of land, we are afraid of our security, we are this, always excuses, 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 excuses. And that it makes the problem, you know, it's like a Russian toy. This Russian doll that you open and there's more Russian, small ones, small ones, small ones. So the whole Palestinian issue was one big one. Now they open it so small, so we have to talk about the borders, the water, the sewage, the sea, the air, the this, until we come to the point, when are they going to end up to occupation? You see? So my magic wand to solve this problem, let's go back to 242 Resolution 338, which says withdrawal of all occupied Arab land, including Julian and Lebanon and Palestine. East Jerusalem, there's a Christian part and a Muslim part and a Jewish part. I don't see why they want to take the Muslim part or the Jewish part. Many people would say, oh, because under the mosque there is the Temple of David. Since 1948, they have been digging under the mosque. Since 1967, they brought equipment. And until last year, they brought the most sophisticated equipment in archaeology to find the Temple of David. It does not exist under the mosque in Jerusalem. So East Jerusalem is Islamic, is a Christian capital. West Jerusalem is a Jewish capital. Let's do it. If you want peace, do it. Don't talk about it. I mean, we kept talking and arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing. And what did we get? At the end, I can tell you this. If the Palestinians don't have tanks today, Maybe 10 years we will have tanks. If the occupier have nuclear heads and nuclear weapons, over 300 nuclear weapons, and the whole world is so quiet, and they're talking about other countries having nuclear weapon, but they're not looking at them as the owners of over 200 heads of nuclear weapon. Palestinians one day will have a nuclear weapon. Why not? It's our right. Because it seems that what's taken by force has to come back, but taken back by force. I don't believe in that equation, really. But this is the situation right now. The only way to end it is implement United Nations resolutions. And that's the magic. Withdraw 1967 borders, we bring peace troops in, sit down, build a wall. Takes 10, 15 years to get to like my neighbor again, or they like us again, and then life goes on. But if it's continue, I'm telling you, it's gonna drag everybody into this circle of violence, including Asia. And Japan is not far away from the whole thing. I don't think so. Neither South Korea nor anybody. Nobody is far away from the conflict in the Middle East.
So he's asking which country you think that...
There is no country. That's what I'm saying. United Nations. Let's go to the United Nations. All countries are involved there. We were accepted in that United Nations, and I thank Japan for voting for us. I think Japan took a bold step in voting for the Palestinians. Thank you.
Any working press question? If not, I'll allow the lady to ask question. Yeah.
Chargé d'affaires of Syria. Actually, it is not a question because I know the Palestinian cause very well. To be honest, I want to take this opportunity to reaffirm our endless support for Palestinian people and Palestinian cause. I want also to show the international community the connection. You see, and here it comes to your question. There is a concrete connection between what is going on in our region relating to Syria, Iraq right now, and what our Palestinian people are facing. In fact, we keep saying the Zionist plan is to interfere in our areas, to divide our states to very small states, and to be actually based on ethnic, on religious basis. This is why we always we should stick together and fight this international terrorism. I want also to say that what we are fighting right now, the international terrorism, and also Iraq fighting the international terrorism, our efforts stands with Palestinian people efforts, because as such we are also prohibited these groups to achieve what Israel want from our area. Also, I would say about the Lebanon resistant stance. Also, when they were fighting Israel in 1996, also it was for the same aim. So we really wish from the international community, to support us, because especially for Palestinian people, they don't have state, so the protection is the responsibility of international community. This is the reason why I do agree that we should go to the United Nations and we should put more pressure. Not only Japan, of course, Japan very important, because Japan, the most funding of the United Nations come from Japan. This is why Japan and other also states should work on this.
If you have any specific question, would you like to comment of the Excellency on that?
I would only ask the international community to support the Palestinian cause, because this is our also central cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any comment on this, Excellency?
It shows some, even Syria going through hard times right now. The Syrians also support the Palestinians, the Arab world, the Islamic world, and even Japanese people. The people of the world really supports us. I can see it in the demonstration all over the world. The governments are quiet, but the people are not. And this is the power of the people. Aren't we supposed to have democratic nations where the people's voice is the importance? For me, I listen to the people's voice, and I hope their voice will prevail very soon.
Thank you very much, Excellency, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we are coming to the closing of our allocated time, and as a token of appreciation of the club to His Excellency, we are offering, because all ambassadors are already our guest members. Usually at press conference, we offer one-year guest membership. So, Excellency, this is a, I think, dinner ticket for two. So come back again and talk to our press members. And thank you very much for everything today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we conclude today's press conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much.